Radhe Radhe, Dandava Pranam. Welcome to Shri Radha Vino Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Sri Jayadeva Gosvami ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Dandava Pranam Vaishnava.
Dandava Pranam. Can you turn on that light, please?
It is already posted.
Wow. Okay. So we will begin with Mangalacharan,
Should I do the drum already?
page 1 of our songbook, Sri Gita-govinda Just. It's too low. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. Calling out for the mercy, the compassion, the grace, and the presence of our Guru Varga, beginning with our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, and all of our Guru Varga, going back to the original Guru, Vande Krishna Jagat Guru, who is Krishna himself, and his Guru of Prem, Radhika Premer Guru, Ami Shishyanata, who makes him dance various novel dances. That is Srimati Radhika. So we're calling on all of them for their grace and their mercy and their presence. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Caitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayanitti Namite Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Varam Varinyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Shirasannamami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanim Cha Shri Krishna Pada Vijitaika Trindi Chaitanya Leela Mridasarasaram Narayanam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय गौरप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्री श्रीमद्भक्तिप्रज्ञान केशवो इति नामिने अतीमर्त्यचरित्राय स्वश्रितानञ्च पालिने जीवदुःखे सदरताय श्रीरामप्रेमदायिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने श्रीवर्षभानवी देवी दयिताय कृपाभये कृष्ण सम्बन्ध विज्ञान दयिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमाभ्य श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिदा श्रीगौर करुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुगम्भिरुद्धाप सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्भोगे पदं पूजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगरायते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिय वैष्णव सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतो पङ्को मम मन्दं मतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यद्वृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवौ प्रेष्ठानिभिः सेव्यमानुस्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भे वंशिवततस्थितः कर्षन्मेनुस्वनैर्गोप्य गोपीनाथः श्रियेस्तु नः वृन्दायै तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shriya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Mudivardhanam Pradipadam Purnamrita Shvadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Harer Nam Harer Nam Harer Nameva Kevalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatiranyata Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Now I know if I don't use this, then I will lose my voice. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Page 32. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koro Edase by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Dandava Pranam, Radhe Radhe. And if you do not have the songbook, then Jiva Pavana Prabhu very kindly posts the bhajans in the comment section of the thread. So just scroll to his most recent post, and there you will find the bhajans along with translation and frequently followed by beautiful commentaries of our acharyas, which are definitely worth reading. So thank you, Prabhu, for that. Page number has already been provided by Janardhan Das Anudas. Dandava Pranam. Dandava Pranam. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koroe Dasi Trinape Khayoti Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koroe Dasi Trinape Khayoti Sakala Sahane Balladiya Koro Nijamane Sprihahino Sakala Sahane Balladiya Koro Nijamane Sprihahino Kripa Bindu Khayoti Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koroe Dasi Trina তৃণাপেক্ষায়তি সকলে সমা করিতে শক্তি দেহনাথ যথা যথ সকলে সমা করিতে শক্তি দেহনাথ যথা যথ তবে তো গাইব হরি নাম সুখে তবে তো গাইব হরি নাম সুখে অপরাধ হবে হত অপরাধ হবে হত গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করোয়ে দাসে তৃণাপেক্ষায়তি গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করোয়ে দাসে তৃণাপেক্ষায়তি তবে হেন কৃপা লোভিয়ায়ে জন কৃতার্থ হইবে নাথ তবে হেন কৃপা লোভিয়ায়ে জন কৃতার্থ হইবে নাথ শক্তি বুদ্ধি আমি অতি দীন শক্তি বুদ্ধি আমি অতি দীন করো মোরে আত্মসাৎ করো মোরে আত্মসাৎ গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এ দাসে তৃণাপেক্ষায়তি গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এ দাসে তৃণাপেক্ষায়তি যোগ্যতা বিচারে কিছু নাহি পাই তোমার করুণা সারো যোগ্যতা বিচারে কিছু নাহি পাই তোমার করুণা সারো করুণা না হইলে কাঁদিও কাঁদিয়া করুণা না হইলে কাঁদিও কাঁদিয়া প্রাণ না রাখিব আরো প্রাণ না রাখিব আরো গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এ দাসে তৃণাপেক্ষায়তি গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এ দাসে তৃণাপেক্ষায়তি গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব জয় গুরুদেব জয় প্রভু পাদ Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki jai. A Bharo Kurunakoro, Vaishnava Goshai, page 44. A Bharo Kurunakoro, Vaishnava Goshai. Bharo Kurunakoro, Vaishnava Goshai. Patita Pavana Tuma, Bine ke hona. Patita Pavana Tuma, Bine ke hona. Kaharo nikote gele, papo dure jaan. Kaharo nikote gele, papo dure jaan. Hey mono doyalo Prabhu, ke bakho ka pai. Hey mono doyalo Prabhu, ke bakho ka pai. Gangaro porasya hoile, Pashchate pavo. Gangaro porasya hoile, Pashchate pavo. Darshane pavitra koro, e tomaro gun. Darshane pavitra koro, e tomaro gun. Hari sthane aparadhe, Kare Hari Naam. Hari sthane aparadhe, Kare Hari Naam. Toma sthane aparadhe, nahi koe Ram. Toma sthane aparadhe, nahi koe Ram. Tomaro hridoye Ki Jai. Dandava Pranam all Vaishnavas. Rupa Goswami. Sri Rupa Manjari Pada Se Mora Sampada, page 50. Today I was reading from our Srila Gurudev, and he was speaking about the subject of Rupanuga, and specifically delineating what is Rupanuga, what is not, and when it related to even the personalities who are Siddha, but when they're in this world in the form of sadhakas, then he referred to them as Raganuga, like Rai Ramananda, Swarup Damodar Goswami. Rai Ramananda in Krishna Lila is Vishaka Saki. Swarup Damodar in Krishna Lila is Lalita Saki. But in this world, in the form of sadhakas, then they are practicing as if they are Raganugas. But not Rupanugas, because Rupa is the Anuga of Lalita Saki. Rupa is following and serving under Lalita Saki. So Swarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda are not Rupanugas. And then Gurudev differentiated between those personalities and those who are in Vrindavan serving Krishna, like Madhya Yashoda, Lalita, Vishaka, etc. He said, are they Raganugas? He said, no, because they're not Anuga. Means they're not, what? They're not followers of those persons. They are known as Ragatmika. Means they are the eternal associates of the Lord. So they're not following any process of sadhana in the wake of the kind of love that any of the eternal associates of the Lord are experiencing. So those personalities who are serving Radha and Krishna, or serving Krishna in Vrindavan through any rasa, they are known as Ragatmika. And those who are in this world, even if they are Ragatmika, but they're in the form of sadhakas, then they might be known as Raganuga, or specifically if they're following under the guidance of Sri Rupa Gosvami, then they will be known as Rupanuga, with the aspiration to attain a service like Sri Rupa Manjari. So now we're going to sing Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, Se Mor Sampada. How do I pronounce this? Good luck. Some of these are quite difficult. Paribrajakacharya Ashtotarashata. Ashtotarashata literally means 108. Ashta Uttara Shata. Shata means 100. Uttara means above, and Ashta means 8. So 8 above 100 is 108. And Parivrajak there's Parivrajak Acharya. So we know that Acharya means that person who's teaching by their own example, or who is the best at something. And I can't remember the meaning of Parivrajak, but it means that person in whose footsteps you can follow. I know that much. There's a lot of words that take some time getting used to. When you see an R with a dot under it and then an N with a dot under it, you're like, what is that? How come there's no I or any vowel in between? Well, the R with the dot is in Hindi or Sanskrit, can be Re or Ru, depending on where you're from. In Orissa, they don't say Krishna, they say Krishna. In other places, they say Krishna or Krishna. So depending on the dialect of where you're from. But when Srila Gurudev gave me Harinam, I specifically remember how he said it. It was very sweet. It was the short little I, that dot under the R. He said Krishna. And there's a dot under the S also, and a dot under the N. So technically it would be Krishna. So all of the different sounds would come out differently than we normally say. It's also not a re, but a re. So These things we will have to learn one day in any life. Maybe when we're born from the womb of a gopi, we will naturally learn that dialect and it will all flow completely, naturally, and normally. When, oh when. Sri Rupa Manjari Padam Se Moro Sampada Se Mor Bhajana Puja Sri Rupa Manjari Padam Se Moro Sampada Se Mor Bhajana Puja Se Mor Pranodhana Se Mor Abharana Pranodhana Se Mor Abharana Se Mor Jivanir Jivan Se Mor Jivanir Jivan Se Mor Rasanidhi Se Mor Vanchasiddhi Se Mor Rasanidhi Se Mor Vanchasiddhi Se Mor Vederodharam Se Mor Vederodharam Se Brata Se Tapa Se Mor Mantra Japa Se Brata Se Tapa Se Mor Mantra Japa Se Mor Dharma Karam Se Mor Dharma Karam Manukula Hare Vidhi Se Pade Hoive Siddhi Manukula Hare Vidhi Se Pade Hoive Siddhi Nirakhivo Nirakivo Se Rupa Madhuri Rashi Prano Kubalaya Shashi Se Rupa Madhuri Rashi Prano Kubalaya Shashi Prabhulito Habe Nishibi Prabhulito Habe छाया हा हा प्रभु करो दया देह मोरे पद छाया नरोत्तम लोहिलो शरण नरोत्तम लोहिलो शरण नरोत्तम लोहिलो शरण नरोत्तम लोहिलो शरण श्री रूप मंजरी पद सेवोर संपद सेवोर भजन पूजा श्री रूप मंजरी पद सेवोर संपद सेवोर भजन पूजा सेवोर भजन पूजा सेवोर भजन पूजा रूप गोस्वामी प्रभु रूप गोस्वामी 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 प्रभु हे 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 श्री रूप गोस्वामी पाद की जय। Now we will call out for the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Jai Jai Nityananda, Rohini Kumar, page 64. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumar Jaya Jaya Nityananda Rohini Kumar Patito Udharo Lagi Bahu Pasar Patito Udharo Lagi Bahu Pasar Godo Godo Madhurama Dhurayadho Mola Godo Godo Madhurama Dhurayadho Mola Jare dekhe tare preme Dhori deyo kola Jare dekhe tare preme Dhori deyo kola Gagama Galochana Raye Niranta Gagama Galochana Raye Niranta Sonaro Kamale Jeno Piraye Brahma Sonaro Kamale Jeno Piraye Brahma Goyaro Takuro Nitai Par Dukha Jani Goyaro Takuro Nitai Par Dukha Jani Parinamer Mala Gathi Dino Jagajani Harinamo Mala Gathi Dino Jagajani Papi Pashundi Jato Korilo Dana Papi Pashundi Jato Korilo Dana Dino Hino Jane Koila Prema Vitara Dino Hino Jane Koila Prema Vitara Ahare Goranga Boli Hare Bhumi Kale Ahare Goranga Boli Hare Bhumi Kale Sharira Bhijilo Nitai Nayonero Jale Sharira Bhijilo Nitai Nayonero Jale Vrindabono Dasomone Ei Bichari No जय जय नित्यानंद रोहिणी कुमार पतित उद्धारो लागि बाहु पसार जय जय नित्यानंद रोहिणी उद्धारो लागि बाहु पसार नित्यानंद राम जय नित्यानंद राम 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 निताय गौरांग जय निताय गौरांग जय निताय गौरांग निताय गौरांग जय निताय गौरांग निताय गौरांग जय निताय गौरांग पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम सच्चिनंदन गौर हरि की जय Emon Shachira Nandana Bine, page 70. This song is based on a verse written by Srila Prabhupada Saraswati in Sri Caitanya Chandramrita, beginning Prema Namad Bhutartha. And this is composed by Srila Premananda Das Thakur. Chiranandana Bine Shachiranandana Bine Shachiranandana Bine Shachiranandana Prema bolina ati adbhuta shruta hoito karo kane Prema bolina ati adbhuta shruta hoito karo kane Shachiranandana Bine Shachiranandana Bine Shachiranandana Bine Shachiranandana Krishna Ramiro Saguna Mahima Keva Janai To Yaro Shri Krishna Ramiro Saguna Mahima বাজনাইতো আরো বৃন্দাবিপিনে মহামধুরিমা বৃন্দাবিপিনে মহামধুরিমা প্রবেশ হইতো কারো প্রবেশ হইতো কারো এমন সচির নন্দন দিনে সচির নন্দন দিনে সচির নন্দন দিনে সচির নন্দন দিনে মুখে বাজানাইতো রাধার মাধুর্য রস যশ চমৎকার মুখে বাজানাইতো রাধার মাধুর্য রস যশ চমৎকার তার অনুভব সাত্বিক বিকার তার অনুভব সাত্বিক বিকার গোচর চিরমা গোচর চিরমা কারো এমন সচির নন্দন দিনে সচির নন্দন দিনে এমন সচির নন্দন দিনে সচির নন্দন দিনে ব্রজে যে বিলাস রাসমহারাস প্রেম পরকীয় তত্ত্ব ব্রজে যে বিলাস রাসমহারাস প্রেম পরকীয় তত্ত্ব গোপীর মহিমা ব্যভিচারী সীমা গোপীর মহিমা ব্যভিচারী সীমা কারো ভগবতী ছিল এতো কারো ভগবতী ছিল এতো এমন সচির নন্দন দিনে সচির নন্দন দিনে সচির নন্দন দিনে সচির নন্দন দিনে ধন্য কলি ধন্য নিতাই চৈতন্য পরম করুণা করি ধন্য কলি ধন্য নিতাই চৈতন্য পরম করুণা করি বিধিয় গোচর যে প্রেম বিকার বিধিয় গোচর যে প্রেম বিকার প্রকাশে জগত গৌরী প্রকাশে জগত গৌরী কেমন সচির নন্দন দিনে সচির নন্দন দিনে সচির নন্দন কিছু না বাঁচিল যাচিয়া দিলে কখনো ধময়তম কিছু না বাঁচিল যাচিয়া দিলে কখনো ওহে প্রেমানন্দে মন গৌরাঙ্গে কোহে প্রেমানন্দে এমন গৌরাঙ্গে অন্তরে ধরিয়া দৌড়া অন্তরে ধরিয়া দৌড়া সচিরানন্দন বিনে সচিরানন্দন বিনে এমন সচিরানন্দন বিনে সচিরানন্দন বিনে প্রেম গৌরীনা অতি অদ্ভুত শ্রুতবত কারো কানে প্রেম গৌরীনা অতি অদ্ভুত শ্রুতবত কারো কানে সচিরানন্দন বিনে সচিরানন্দন বিনে সচিরানন্দন বিনে সচিরানন্দন বিনে এমন সচিরানন্দন বিনে এমন সচিরানন্দন বিনে সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি জয় সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি সচিনন্দন জয় গৌর হরি গৌর হে 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 প্রেম পুরুষোত্তম সচিনন্দন গৌর হরি কি Again. And Dashavatara Stotram. So today we are observing the appearance day of Sri Jayadeva Gosvami, who is renowned throughout the 14 worlds for compiling Sri Gita-govinda. And he starts with Sri Dashavatara Stotram. Of all kirtans, although it is one of the most supremely rasic literatures, he starts with speaking about Sri Dash Avatar. Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj asked, why? And he said, if you only have rasamalai for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's all you ever have, then it won't have its speciality. You need to have other flavors as well, like rice, dal, chapatis, sabji, bitter melon, and anything else. You need your samosas, you need your savories, and maybe even other flavors as well. And then when you come to Rasmalai, you will understand, wow, this is the king of sweets. In the same way, Sri Jayadeva Gosvami is introducing his subject matter in such a way to show so many different forms of Krishna. Keshavadritta Meena Sharira, Keshavadritta Kurma Sharira, Keshavadritta Varaha Rupa, Keshavadritta, oh that was Sukara Rupa, same Varaha Rupa, Rama Sharira, Vamana Rupa. So he's introducing all of these personalities, but within there, Keshavadritta, Krishna himself is manifesting as these personalities for pastime's sake. So just like Srimad Bhagavatam, it mentions so many different avatars, but then it delivers the Rasamalai, that is Krishna in Vrindavan. So there he's introducing so many transcendental forms of the Lord, but just like Bhagavatam mentions all of these avatars and then comes to this point, but ete changsa kalapungsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. All of these incarnations are there, but Krishna is the supreme Bhagavan himself. So from him, all of these other forms have manifested. So Srila Gurudev explained it like this, and then he gave another example. He said, if you meet a very powerful wrestler, and he's there, and you think, wow, he's quite amazing, but you really don't have a proper appreciation of him. But if you have 20 amazing, powerful wrestlers, and they're paired up against each other, and so the winner of this fights the next one, and the winner of that fights the next one, and the winner of that, and the last man standing, he is the supreme winner. Then you will understand how great he truly is. In the same way, Jayadeva Gosvami is introducing so many different aspects of Bhagavan. But he's finally coming to that aspect of Krishna in Vrindavan. How wonderful, how beautiful, how sweet is he. How wonderful and beautiful or sweet are his pastimes, his holy names, his qualities. He's bringing us through this progression. So Gurudev said in the same way, I'm also bringing you all in this progression, because you can't just throw the Rasamalai first. You have to give a gradual progression so that you understand all of these different things. And then when that sweet is given, then you have a proper, refined understanding of what it is. You need your savories and your sweets. So now we're going to sing Sri Dasavatar Stotram, and then again Shrita Kamala. Dasavatar Stotram starts with Pralaya Payodhi Jale Dritavanasi Vedam. Our Srila Prabhupada was quite fond of singing that particular kirtan. In fact, when he was on the boat, the Jaladuta going across the Atlantic, when he had those severe heart attacks, at that time, he had a vision or a dream, but I'm going to use the word vision, spurti, that Krishna was personally massaging his heart. And who was rowing that boat? The Dash Avatar. Means all of the incarnations of the Lord were rowing that boat. And the captain told him, after that really heavy waves and all of that, where Prabhupada got that heart attack, after that, for the remainder of the journey, it was like glass. They said, we have never seen it so smooth ever in all of our years sailing. And they were requesting him that he could travel with them more often. So Pralaya Payodhi Jale Dritavanasi Vedam. Page 349. 349. Should I do the tune I learned from Krishna Das or the one I learned in Vrindavan Gurukul? Okay, Gurukul it is. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Remember, Keshava means Krishna. Of course, it can mean he who has killed the Keshi demon, It has so many different meanings, but also it means Krishna who is decorating the hair of Srimati Radhika. In Shringar Bhatt, he's doing just that, endeavoring to pacify her. He's decorating her hair, and that is also Keshava. Pralaya payo hi jale dritavana sidegam Vihita vahitra charitramakidam Pralaya payodijale drittavana sivedam Vihita vahitra charitramakidam Keshavadrito Nina Shariro Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrito Nina Shariro Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Chitiri Havipulatare Tishtati Tava Prishthe Dharani dharana kina chakra varishte Shitiri havipulatare tishtati tava prishthe Dharani dharana kina chakra varishte Keshavadrita kurma sharira Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Kurma Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Vasati Dashana Shikhare Dharani Tabalagna Shashini Kalanka Kaleva Vimagna Vasati Dashana Shikhare Dharani Kamalagna Shashini Kalanka Kaleva Nimagna Keshavadrita Shukara Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Shukara Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Kavakara Kamala Vare Nakama Bhuta Shlingam Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanu Bringam Kavakara Kamala Vare Nakama Bhuta Shlingam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadritam Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadritam Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Chalaya Sivikramane Balimat Bhutavaman Adana Khanira Janita Janapavan Chalaya Sivikramane Balimat Bhutavaman Adana Khanira Janita Janapavan Keshavadritam Vamanarupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadritam Vamanarupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Kshatriya Rudhiramaye Jagadapagatabapam Snapayasi Payasi Shamita Bhavatapam Kshatriya Rudhiramaye Jagadapagatabapam Snapayasi Payasi Shamita Bhavatapam Keshavadrita Bhrigupati Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Bhrigupati Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Vitarasi Vikshurane Vikapati Kamariyam Dashamukhamoli Balindram Maniyam Vitarasi Vikshurane Vikapati Kamariyam Dashamukhamoli Balindram Maniyam Keshavadrita Rama Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Rama Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Vahasi Vapushi Vishade वसनं जल्लदाभं हलहति भीतिनिमित्तयमुनाभं वहसि वपुषि विशदे वसनं जल्लदाभं हलहति भीतिनिमित्तयमुनाभं केशवद्रीत हलधर रूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवद्रीत हलधर रूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे इन्दस्य यज्ञविधेर् अहः श्रुतिजातम् सदय हृदय दर्शित पशुघातम् इन्दस्य यज्ञविधेर् अहः श्रुतिजातम् सदय हृदय दर्शित पशुघातम् केशवद्रीत बुध शरीर जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवद्रीत बुध शरीर जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे लेक्ष निवहनि धने वलयसि करवालम् धूमकेतुमिव किमपि करालम् लेक्ष निवहनि धने कलयसि करवालम् धूमकेतुमिव किमपि करालम् केशवद्रीत कल्कि शरीर जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवद्रीत कल्कि शरीर जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे श्री जयदेव कवे इदमुदितं मुदारम् श्रीनुसुभदं सुखदं भवसारम् श्री जयदेव कवे इदमुदितं मुदारम् श्रीनुसुभदं सुखदं भवसारम् केशवद्रीत दशविधरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवद्रीत दशविधरूप जय जगदीश हरे केशवदीतं दशविधरूपं जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवदीतं दशविधरूपं जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे कृष्ण 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 हे 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 राम राघव राम राघव राम राघव रक्षो मां राम राघव राम राघव राम राघव रक्षो मां कृष्ण केशव कृष्ण केशव कृष्ण केशव पाहि 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 मां श्री कृष्ण केशव की जय. Wow, that took a little while. No worries. Actually, I want to sing Shrita Kamala when we begin class. So, now we're going to sing to Srimati Radhika, and then Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and then when we begin the discussion, we will sing Shrita Kamala Kuchamandala. For some reason, I must have seen the name of Jayadeva Gosvami popping up, maybe in my Gmail, warning me, his appearance day is coming soon. And maybe that inspired me to sing it yesterday, but today's his day, here, so. Page 341, I believe. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Lucky Lalit Kishore Radhe Radhe. $341? Oh, in British, yes. 341. Radhe Jayo Jayo. Too low for me. One second. Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Radhe Jayo Jayo Madhava Daite Gokula Taruni মণ্ডলমহিতে কোকুলতারুণী মণ্ডলমহিতে রাধে জয় জয় মাধব দয়িতে রাধে জয় জয় মাধব দয়িতে দামোদর রাধি বর্ধন বেশে দামোদর রাধি বর্ধন বেশে হরিণী সুত বৃন্দাবিতি মেশে হরিণী সুত বৃন্দাবিতি মেশে ও রাধে জয় জয় মাধব দয়িতে রাধে জয় জয় মাধব দয়িতে বৃষভানু দধি নব শশী লেখে বিশ্বভানু দধি নব শশী লেখে ললিতা সখী গুণ রমিত বিশাখে ললিতা সখী গুণ রমিত বিশাখে রাধে জয় জয় মাধব দয়িতে ও রাধে জয় জয় মাধব দয়িতে করুণা কুরুময়ী করুণা ভরিতে করুণা কুরুময়ী করুণা ভরিতে সনক সনাতন গৌরনীত চরিতে সনক Jayo Radhe, Jayo Krishna, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Krishna. Vrishabhananandani Shrimati Radharani ki Jai. Shri Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai. Dhanyati Dhanya. 1996 is the year that we received initiation from Srila Gurudev. I first saw him in about 1986 when I was in Vrindavan Gurukul. That time I was quite young, maybe 11. And well, the question came, what year did we meet Srila Gurudev? And then that same year, 1996, I came to India for Navadvip Parikrama with some of my friends in ISKCON. And at that time, I was brought before Srila Gurudev. And we had some conversation at that time before he went on his first world tour. But Sudevi, upon seeing him the first time, let's just say, her heart was stolen. So that was in 1996 in June when she met him. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Gaur Hari Bol Hari Shri Shinitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanu Gauri Guru Varga ki jai, Sri Jayadeva Gosvami ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. By my own misfortune, I heard some criticism of Srila Bhakti Vibhuti Goswami Maharaj. What do I do now? How do I counter it? Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj explained that if we have the capacity, then we should cut their arguments with Shastra. If we have the capacity. If we do not, then we should leave that place and with all of our clothes on, enter into any body of water, meaning any lake, any river, or the ocean, basically to wash it off, and to pray to Krishna at that time for forgiveness from hearing that aparad or criticism. That is what Srila Gurudev instructed us. We've heard him say it many, many times. But if one has the capacity, then they should immediately cut those arguments with Shastra. That's the best answer I can give.
Sometimes it's not even worth it. It's best to just give up that association.
Most of the time it's not even worth it. Because usually when people have opinions, their opinions are their own absolute truth. And so it's very difficult to shift someone from their position. Generally what happens is it will end up becoming more exacerbated, more intense, and you will hear more criticism, and it will be worse for you, worse for them, worse for everyone. So unless someone is actually humble enough to have a proper conversation, which is quite rare, especially these days in Kali Yuga, where everyone is encouraged not to be humble and not to have the good qualities, but to engage and entertain the 7 deadly sins, including vanity, egotism, and all of that. They're encouraged to do so.
Krishna has already made arrangement for him. That person is gone and he no longer has to think about it. Maybe he should read something from Srila Bhakti Vibhuti Maharaj.
So they'd be suggesting maybe you should read something from Bhakti Vibhuti Maharaj and do pranam to that book. I'll just quickly say, my father, due to bad association back in the day, had made some grave offenses to Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, which really deeply affected his inclination in the path of devotion. And years later, when he was at the end of his wits, trying to figure out what happened to me, I used to be so inspired, now I feel like I'm dead inside. He was praying to Krishna, and in that moment a revelation, a realization came to him that, oh, I received this book and I just threw it away. I disrespected it. I didn't even give the author enough dignity to even read it, or the back cover. Maybe I should do that. So he read it and he was weeping and weeping. What have I done? What have I done? And then he made a vow that whomever he met from that day forward, he would tell about Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he would glorify him, and he would recommend that book, which is what he did. And very soon afterward, of course, Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj came into his life and gave him so much mercy and harikatha and inspiration, and his spiritual life became recharged again. So the fact that you already recognize that something was amiss and you don't like the effect that it had on you, that's already extreme fortune. So for you, what best thing to do is to just avoid the association of such a person. If you feel that what they're saying is untrue or aparad, if it's aparad. Sometimes there are true things that are said. I've heard things that Gurudev said that are pretty strong, and things that Srila Prabhupada has said that are pretty strong, And other Vaishnavas had said things that are very strong, even about other Vaishnavas. And it's not necessarily untrue. But to judge the intention, that can be dangerous. What is the intention? So that can be dangerous, and if we cannot reconcile it, then we may have to keep some distance from that person. But associating with fallen sannyasis and accepting their opinions and like that is not necessarily the best thing for us on the path of bhakti, even though they might be very knowledgeable. It's not necessarily the best thing for us. It can be even detrimental. So, and if a fallen sannyasi is then criticizing other Vaishnavas, I mean, in that case, you have the one finger pointed out and three fingers pointed at you, right? Look at myself. What has he done, but what am I doing, right? We should also look at that. So, if someone is doing something which is against tattva and siddhanta, Srila Gita-govinda Maharaj said we can tolerate anything, but we cannot tolerate changes to essential foundational truth, tattva siddhanta, that then he said everything will be spoiled. So if there's one, you can say, acharya who has a difference of opinion from another acharya about something, but not about tattva, about some other kind of thing, then there might be something that we need to adjust or reconcile. But when something is directly going against tattva siddhanta, then we cannot tolerate that. We must speak up, we must say something. So, Jiva Pavana Prabhu, we've had too much experience in this way, and I feel the same way. When I'm quoting Gurudev, I feel very strongly, this is the absolute truth, and other people are saying, well, that's not really what he meant. What he meant was, and I'm like, but Gurudev said it here 1,000 times. Yeah, but that's not really what he meant. When he said that 1,000 times, he would look at us and kind of wink, meaning I'm cheating all of them, but really what I'm doing is giving you the truth. So always there are differences of opinion. I just pray that hopefully Srila Gurudev would be pleased with my understanding and representation of his words as it is, so I don't have to fall into the category of second-guessing Gurudev. And when he says never and never, I don't want to say, well, what he really means is sometimes. So I just try to accept it as it is. And hopefully, even if I'm wrong, if I'm endeavoring to be...
But in conjunction with Shastra and other Vaishnavas, it's not even just Gurudev.
That's true. When Gurudev is speaking, he always gives those evidences from Shastra and other Vaishnavas, and so it ends up being a very strong, founded conception. It's not that he's just randomly saying something from hot air or making something up. He always would say, same wine, new bottle, I'm not telling anything different. Look, it's here, it's there, it's there, it's there. I'm just giving what our parampara has given. But my point is that with my concept, my mind, I tend to hold very tightly to the instructions of my guru, and I accept the instructions and teachings of others to the point that they support my conviction in the teachings of my Gurudev. Whereas some or so many will take the instructions and teachings of others to the exception of the teachings of their Gurudev. And that's when it becomes dangerous, because Guru Nishta is the backbone of bhakti. And if you take someone else's instructions who make you have doubts in the teachings of your Gurudev, then where is your Guru Nishta? Srila Gurudev said, then where is the taking of guidance? Where is that? So one doesn't have the right to change the words and teachings of their Gurudev. Gurudev said, what is the meaning of taking guidance in that case? Then what's the whole point? The whole point would be a moot point by then. Like, why accept Guru if the words of Guru are up for, how do you say, whimsically accepting or rejecting? Then that's not really acceptance of Guru. That's acceptance of one's mind. So, if what you've heard you feel is actually criticism, meaning judging the intention, maybe there's some activity that has gone on in the past or anything like that. Maybe some things have been reconciled since. Here's something to consider. Srila Prabhupada said our Srila Prabhupada said so many heavy things about many of his godbrothers. Very, very heavy. And they were also saying so many very heavy things about him. And even it is in his books. And yet, at the end of his physical presence in this world, he said, the battle is over. Now we should all work conjointly together to spread the teachings of our Gurudev and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We should all work together. This was Prabhupada's desire, one of his last stated desires. So if we continue to hold on to what he said previously, then we are now rejecting the more recent instruction. Then we become implicated in aparad, not only to Gurudev, but to these other Vaishnavas, naturally. So the final instruction of Gurudev, what Sri Guru is telling, this has more weight than the previous ones for us. It carries more weight because it's a progressive evolution of consciousness. And so from that point, then whatever he has said before, we have to maybe still be careful, but now he's saying work together. No. I'm going to refer back to the previous instructions, and I'm going to reject the final instructions. That's also not taking guidance. And so we should also try to see or understand if there are any reconciliations which have taken place. Something may have been said at one point or another in the past, and then in the future, or at a later date, a reconciliation was made. Right? Imagine if Sudevi and I had a really, really big fight, and you took sides with one of us. And then we made up, and we're getting on really well, but you're telling me really bad things about her. Well, I would think that you're offensive, because we're doing well, but you're still holding on to my previous issue, but now everything is good. So context is extremely important. If we want to make progress, then we should understand context and reconciliation as well. And if something has been smoothed over and dadati pratigunati guhyamakyati prichati, in other words, cake has been exchanged and affection has been, that channel of affection has been in essence reopened or visibly manifest, then whatever has happened in the past, we can let it go and we can accept what is flowing now and enter into that flow. Yes, time, place, and circumstance. It's always essential to take these things into consideration. It's also, what Rudra Gupta said was true. Our Srila Prabhupada said, and it was in a private meeting, so he didn't want these private discussions to be publicized and put into books and everything like that. Unfortunately, they were. He didn't want his private letters to be publicized either, because they were meant for time, place, and circumstance. Not.
Gurudev told us things that we've never repeated because it was time, place, and circumstance.
Yeah, Srila Gurudev had told us things also that we have never repeated because it was time, place, and circumstance.
About other people.
He did. And naming people and saying things about them, but we can't say that. Certain things, it would be maybe shocking if that person heard that, and they have the capacity to change. But according to that particular time, place, and circumstance, Gurudev had that particular feeling, and we could see over time how the effects of their activities were taking place, and it was quite intense to witness. But over time, it might be that the humility manifests by which those personalities will understand the whole thing as the mercy of Gurudev and then come back with their head bowed low, ready to receive that mercy. Yes. Sometimes Gurudev rolls the disciple out on a long leash. Okay, you want to be free? You want to do? Then you are free to taste the results of your own karma. I no longer take responsibility. Let you out like a kite.
He said about someone, and thus they keep offending me.
Right.
That person fell, but then we saw them bathing in Sarabikun, weeping, and how the humility has arisen in their heart. We saw.
So I think you all heard that. So he lets you go, but holds on, because he can't really let go. Not really. Paramatma in the heart has been traveling with us forever. And he manifests externally as Diksha and Shiksha Gurus. So from one perspective, there is neglect, there might be rejection, but from an internal perspective, it's impossible. Gurudev said Krishna cannot neglect even one jiva. So then you would understand that that is called tough love. Okay? You want to be free to do your own thing? Go ahead. Now you'll have to taste the results of your own karma. I no longer take responsibility for you. Good luck. That should be a really loud warning sign. You know, that war siren. I think they have one for Radha Shyamsundar. That's the evening bell. They put that war kind of siren on. But it should be an awakening. Oh my God, what am I doing? Immediately it should cause one to run and hold on tightly to the feet of Guru. But it may take some time. So, Srila Prabhupada said that I can say these things, but you cannot. He can speak about his own God brothers. He has that relationship with him. But his own disciples, he said, you cannot say these things. So there's also etiquette. There's etiquettes involved with all of these things. And Srila Gurudev was quite strong on the conception of Vaishnava Sadachar, proper etiquette among Vaishnavas, how one should behave in certain situations. But when Tattva Siddhanta is being changed, then we must defend the principle from anyone. We should not necessarily attack the person or their character, but the principle we should uphold and maintain. Even if it is a senior. When Srila Gurudev said something that made me question, I brought it to him directly, and I was quite strong in my position because he had taught me for so many years. And I just told him, I said, everything that you've taught me for the last 11 years, it's like you've just smashed it. Now what am I supposed to believe? What am I supposed to preach? What do you want me to do? And I revealed what he taught me for 11 years. I told him, you said this, this. And he was like, yes. And each time I added another one, his eyes became bigger and the glint in his eyes became brighter. And I said, now what do you want me to preach? Some other conception? He said, no, as I preach, you should preach. And I was like, okay. And then he gave his reasonings for why he did what he did. So yes, time, place, and circumstance. Okay. Mahaprasadam means slap cheek. Mahaprasad could be slap on the cheek. That means great mercy. And when Guru shows some anger to the disciple, in that process, millions of lifetimes of anarthas can be burnt. When Narada Muni showed some anger toward Nala Kuvera and Manigriva, the two sons of Kuvera, and cursed them to become trees, along with that was the blessing that they would witness the pastimes of Krishna, and they would reside there, and then they would awaken in their eternal transcendental identity as Madhukanta and Snigdhakanta, always glorifying Krishna. When Krishna looked upon those two trees with anger because they stopped his progress from playing with his friends, grinding mortar got stuck between the twin trees, got stuck. He looked back for one moment in anger and immediately all of their previous anything was burnt to ashes and they manifested in their original forms. So that moment of transcendental anger, it's not something that we should try to extract from Guru. Oh, well, let me make Gurudev angry so that he will chastise me. Then my millions of anarthas will be destroyed. We should not think that we're more smart than Guru or Krishna. Krishna says, I am the cheater of the greatest cheaters in this world. So if you think you can cheat Guru and Krishna, no. Guru knows everything. He knows all the tricks in the book. He can see everything. Millions and millions of lifetimes he understands what we have been doing and every trick that we've endeavored to go through. So he can run circles around us. And if we think we can run a circle around Gurudev, that's just egotism. So, yes. TK. So now, we will continue with our... Is that light behind bothering you? I just realized it's on. Yeah, it's making the thing go in and out. 1 second. There we go. I turned it off. I just turned it off. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayanitti Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitti Namine Ancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Prabhishta Vishnupar, Ashto Tarashata Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and the same thousands of Dandava Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Prabhishta Vishnupar, Ashto Tarashata Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga. And also on this day, to Sri Jayadeva Gosvami. What's going on?
Oh, you have that going.
Oh. And to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe, Radhe, Radhe Shah.
Radhe Shah.
Jai Ho. By the time I came out here, you still hadn't turned that light off, so I thought that was too much.
There's a couple minutes delay between what we're doing here and what you're seeing there.
Or what I'm
Isha
saying.
Thakurani is doing the Lulu. You know, in Bangla it's called Ulu. So maybe Ulu, 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 Ulu.
No.
But I see it there again. I can't do it. They move their tongue from left to right or right to left this way when they're doing it. And a lot of people do it up and down, but they somehow are able to do it that way. So today we are observing the appearance of Sri Jayadeva Gosvami. As I mentioned before, he is well known for manifesting Sri Gita-govinda, which was a favorite of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu would regularly hear from Sri Gita-govinda, especially in Puri, in the Gambhira, from Rai Ramananda and Swarup Damodar Goswamis. And Mahaprabhu was so fond of Gita-govinda, he also instructed all of his associates to make copies. Now, they didn't have photocopy machines, they actually had to copy it by hand. But all of those devotees who were there also were meditating on and remembering these beautiful pastimes mentioned in Sri Gita-govinda. Sri Jayadeva Gosvami, although it is said that he had some Aishwarya Bhav toward the Lord, somehow manifesting through him were these very beautiful, sweet, transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So whatever was coming into his heart, it was descending. He was writing down. At a certain point, as he was writing down, something came into his heart, which he felt, how can I write this down? It would seem to lessen the position of the absolute supremacy of Krishna. How can I write this down? What manifested in his heart as he was flowing, as his pen was flowing, and what was manifesting in his heart was that Krishna is pleading for the mercy, the merciful foot dust of Srimati Radhika. And he was thinking, how is this possible? How can I write this down? So he felt that inspiration in his heart, but then this blockage came, this Aishwarya, this Gyan came, which blocked him from allowing himself to express this or write it down. At that time, it was time for him to chant his Anik, his midday mantras. And many people chant their mantras standing in the river. So he went to the river to take bath and to chant his mantras. And when he came back, his wife asked him, Padmavati, I don't understand what happened. You left and you came back again, and then you left again, and now you came back. And he said, what do you mean? She said, yes, you left and immediately you came back, and then you left again, and then you came back. He's like, what are you talking about? She said, you went into your room, you wrote something down quickly in your book, and then you left again. He ran to his book. What is there? He opened it up, and that thing that he wanted to write but felt, oh, I can't. He blocked himself from writing it, was fully written there. Smaragarakandanam mamashira shimandanam dehi padapalabamudaram. Krishna himself is placing his peacock feather, is placing his mukut, his flute, at the feet of Srimati Radhika and begging her, please be merciful to me and place your lotus feet upon my head. And Jayadeva Goswami just couldn't understand. How is it possible that the supreme absolute truth, the source of everything, God himself is begging for the foot dust of his own devotee? So he couldn't write it down, but he saw that it was written down, and he realized that this was Krishna himself who had come. And Gurudev says in the introduction to Gita-govinda, in golden lettering, as if to tell the whole world very loudly, this is what I want, Gurudev said. So, in this connection, sometimes we hear of revelations, we see somebody has written something down, and then so many will say something about it. Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj explained that with any revelation or any scripture that is written, it can only be accepted as truth if many Mahabhagavats or transcendental personalities put their stamp on it, that yes, because they can recognize truth, because they're connected to the same source. Shabda Brahma, transcendental, the absolute truth in the form of sound, Shabda, it manifests through all of these personalities in the same way that you can have many taps, many faucets right next to each other. And each one you turn on, the water is coming from the same source, and they're all flowing that water, so they will understand each other. And they will understand and recognize that essential truth. If they do not, if many Mahabhagavats do not confirm that, then it can be a figment of the imagination. In this case, Sudevi and I were speaking earlier, and she gave me permission to share one interaction. Of course, I would like her to share it. But once upon a time, this is after we had our Thakurji, Shri Radha Vino Bihari, Shachinandan Gaurahari. We were actually here in Gopinath Bhavan, in another room, and Sudevi had this dream that Srila Gurudev was giving her Govardhan, Giriraj Shila. That he was there at Govardhan, all of our acharyas were there, and they were weeping as they were chanting, sitting at the foot of Govardhan. It was almost 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:36 or something like that. And Gurudev handed her this Govardhan Shila, weeping, and he said, this is Shiromani. Shiromani means the crushed jewel of everything. And he was weeping as he was giving this Giriraj to her. And she woke up from that dream at that time in the morning, bawling, weeping, and crying so heavily, having had such a beautiful, amazing dream. And her friend immediately said to her, "That means Gurudev is giving you Giriraj. We should go to Govardhan and collect a Shila." And Sudevi's mood was, well, maybe we should just write and confirm with Gurudev first. So they wrote to Srila Gurudev. That time email was kind of getting its start. Everything was a bit slow. And she wrote and told Gurudev this dream. And then asked, does this mean that you want me to go and get Govardhan? That you're giving Giriraj to me? And the response came back rather quickly. Normally it was about 2 weeks. How fast was this response, Sudevi? Within half an hour to an hour. We were still at the internet cafe in Vrindavan at that time. I don't know if you remember, there was that. You'd have to go upstairs and sit in that and wait for that. All of that for like a long time just to send a single email. But anyhow, while we were still there in that cafe, then the message came back. "My dear darling Dr. Sudevi, you are so fortunate to have had such a wonderful dream. Unfortunately, I have not had the same dream as you," he told her. In other words, it was a dream, but it wasn't real. And he said, "I have not come to give all of this. Haven't I already given you Thakurji? Why do you want to collect so many things? I've already given you the treasure of my heart. Harinam, have you realized this?" And so he mentioned all of these things in his letter. He said, "Anyhow, you should worship Giriraj like I do, by heart. And I know you will do the right thing." What a powerful instruction. Having had such an amazing, transcendental, wonderful dream, being in Vrindavan Dham, waking up at 3:36 or 4 o'clock in the morning, bright and early at the time of Brahma Muhurta, having seen our Guru Varga, these four, I believe, all sitting there weeping and crying and chanting at the foot of Giriraj, and Gurudev handing her Govardhan Shila. Still he said, when he directly spoke with her, "I have not had the same dream as you." So how do we accept what Jayadeva Gosvami has written and what he has seen? All of our Guru Varga, not just our Guru Varga, Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself and Jagannath himself all have confirmed. Krishna himself has confirmed. Srila Gurudev explained that Jagannath Dev, upon hearing this Gita-govinda being sung, Jayadeva Goswami's Gita-govinda, left the altar, ran out toward the source of that Gita-govinda being sung, and its cloth was being caught by the thorn bushes and everything, but he could not help himself. He needed to go to the source of that beautiful kirtan. And in the next morning when the pujaris came, they saw his clothes were all disheveled and ripped and torn and like everything, and they couldn't understand, but our acharyas have diagnosed this. This was a condition of being infatuated and enamored by hearing this Gita-govinda. And Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, although a sannyasi, he heard Gita-govinda being sung so beautifully. And because internally he is Krishna, tasting the moods of Srimati Radhika, but Nomi Krishna Swarupam, Krishna himself, he also could not help himself. He began running toward the source of that Gita-govinda with intent to embrace whoever was singing without being conscious of what he was doing. And in essence, he was tackled by his servant Govinda saying, "What were you doing? What were you doing? You were about to embrace her." And he said, What are you talking about?" He said, "You were about to embrace that one who was singing Gita-govinda." Mahaprabhu said, "Thank you, you saved my life. If I were to have embraced her, I would have had to give up my life. Everything would have been spoiled." But how attractive is Gita-govinda to the Lord himself. Jayadeva Goswami had received this and manifested Sri Gita-govinda. And all Vaishnavas appreciate this beautiful, beautiful transcendental literature. So, Sri Jayadeva Gosvami, he has manifested this beautiful, beautiful treasure, which is near and dear to Krishna himself, to Srimati Radhika herself, to Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, to all of our Guru Varga, especially our Rupanuga Guru Varga. Srila Gurudev said it is full of so much separation mood. And what is our mood and our intention? Those who are aspiring to be Rupanugas, what is the mood and intention of the Rupanugas? And those who are the Das, Anudas of the true Rupanugas. At that time when Radhika is feeling intense separation from Krishna, somehow or other to serve in that separation. Gurudev said this is in essence the sum total of all of our aspirations, to serve Srimati Radhika at such a time. So Gita-govinda is very, very deep, very rasik, very intimate. And there is a warning. If you look at the back cover of our version of Gita-govinda, I don't know if the warning is saying you should read it, or the warning is saying don't read it. It's one of those kind of warnings. Sometimes it means you should read it. But specifically because of the nature of the pastimes within, when I read that cover, I felt this is not for me to read, not yet. The question came to Gurudev, why are you why are you translating and delivering this Gita-govinda to the world like this? It's so high. And Srila Gurudev responded, I have looked and searched everywhere, and I have not seen anyone else who can do it at this time, not like this. And he said, if I did not do this, if I do not do this or manifest it like this, it can be lost to the world forever. I specifically remember him saying that, and I was quite shocked. It is by the mercy of our acharyas and their commentaries that we have understanding and access to these transcendental literatures. And he wanted it distributed everywhere so that it is present, and that when the time comes that via our Harinam, by the mercy of Harinam Prabhu and the mercy of the Vaishnavas, a genuine greed manifests in our heart to serve Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan in such a way. At that time, that transcendental treasure will be accessible to us by their mercy. It may be that if we read it now in full material consciousness, it can have an opposite or detrimental effect. In Bhagavatam, it says, Vikriditam brajavidubiridam cha Vishnu. It says, hearing the Rasa Leela pastimes from Bhagavatam, this will be the cure for the heart disease of lust, if we hear from the right source with the right mood. But Gita-govinda has so many very deep, intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And that mindset which is not properly guided can easily be twisted, and it can create in the heart some mood which might be unfavorable for the development of bhakti. So our acharyas have also warned those who are neophyte to be very careful. And yet, some of Gita-govinda they have revealed to the world for our benefit. And so, today I wanted to focus on a lecture of Srila Gurudev. Actually, it's based on a Janmashtami lecture, but every single Janmashtami he would sing or have sung Sri Jayadeva Goswami's Shrita Kamala Kuchamandala Drita Kundala Kalita Lalita Vanamala Jaya Jayadeva Hare. He would have this bhajan sung and he would describe it. And this is also by Jayadeva Gosvami. And he would explain so many beautiful jewels manifesting from this. And so I thought it would be appropriate on this day of Jayadeva Gosvami to share that teaching or those instructions of our Srila Gurudev. So I know we sang it yesterday in the other tune. Shrita Kamala Kucha Mandala. But today we're going to do the other tune. Okay? So, Jai Jai Radhe Krishna Govinda Gopala. Shrita Kamala, page. My God. Time is getting late already. Page 352. Jai Jai Radhe Krishna Govinda Gopala Nanda Dulana Jashoda Dulana Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Radhe Krishna Govinda Gopala Nanda Dulana Jashoda Dulana Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Shrita Kamala Pucha Mandana Drita Kundalani Shrita Kamala Pucha Mandana Drita Kundalani Kalita Lalita Vanamala Kalita Lalita Vanamala Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Kalita Lalita Vanamala Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Veena Mani Mandara Mandana Bhavakandalane Veena Mani Mandara Mandana Bhavakandalane Muni Jannamana Sahamsa Muni Jannamana Sahamsa Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Muni Jannamana Sahamsa Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Kaliya Vishwadhara Ganjana Jannaranjana Kaliya Vishwadhara Ganjana Jannaranjana Yadukula Nadina Dinesha Yadukula Nadina Dinesha Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Yadukula Nadina Dinesha Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Madhumora Kavinasha Garudasana Madhumura Kavinasha Garudasana Surakula Keli Nidano Surakula Keli Nidano Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Surakula Keli Nidano Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Kamala Kamala Dallalochana Bhavamochana Kamala Kamala Dallalochana Bhavamochana Tribhuvana Bhavana Nidhana Tribhuvana Bhavana Nidhana Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Tribhuvana Bhavana Samarashamita Dashakantha Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Samarashamita Dashakantha Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Abhinava Jaladhara Sundara Dhritamandara Abhinava Jaladhara Sundara Dhritamandara Shri Mukha Chandra Chakora Shri Mukha Chandra Chakora Radha Mukha Chandra Chakora Radha Mukha Chandra Chakora Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Radha Mukha Chandra Chakora Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Radhe Krishna Govinda Gopala Nanda Dulala Yashoda Dulala Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Radhe Krishna Govinda Gopala Nanda Dulala Yashoda Dulala Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Tava Charane Pranatamayum Iti Bhavayoge Tava Charane Pranatamayum Iti Bhavayoge Kuru Kushalam Pranateshu Kuru Kushalam Pranateshu Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Kuru Kushalam Pranateshu Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Sri Jayadeva Kaviridam Kurute Mudam Sri Jayadeva Kaviridam Kurute Mudam Mangalamujjwalagitam Mangalamujjwalagitam Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Mangalamujjwalagitam Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Radhe Krishna Govinda Gopala Nanda Dulala Yashoda Dulala Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Radhe Krishna Govinda Gopala Nanda Dulala Yashoda Dulala Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Jaya Jaya Deva Hare Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Okay. Sri Jayadeva Gosvami ki Jai. So I'm just going to grab my notes here. 1 second. Hare Krishna. So, when Srila Gurudev, Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, whenever he would observe Sri Janmashtami, he would always have this particular bhajan sung. He said it's very, very attractive to Krishna. And because it's glorifying Krishna and also glorifying Srimati Radhika, she's pleased and he's pleased. So he would always demand that that bhajan would be sung. So I'm going to share something of Srila Gurudev's commentary on this. Because when you read the general translation here, you get one meaning. And then when you hear from the Rasik Vaishnava, you get the deeper meaning with ras and bhav included. Why am I getting some sound? 1 second. Here we go. So Gurudev is asking why Jagannath and why Mahaprabhu ran in madness while hearing this bhajan, this song. What is it in this kirtan that excites such intense emotion? Then Gurudev is quoting the first verse, Shrita Kamala Kuchamandala Dhrita Kundala E. Jayadeva Goswami is the author of this song and he is glorifying his Ishtadev. Gurudev is saying, who is his Ishtadev? Sri Radha Madhava. Here, Kamala refers to Srimati Radhika. Kamala means lotus in Sanskrit, but in this case, Shrita Kamala refers to Srimati Radhika. Vanamala means a garland of forest flowers. Who will wear simple forest flowers? Ramchandra? No. Vanamala is worn only by Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana, Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Vanachari means who has made a vow to reside in the forest. So this is Vanachari. There's Brahmachari, to be absorbed in the absolute truth at all times, and Krishna, he's in the forest. Vanamala, the special forest garland, is worn only by Vanachari Krishna. Kalita Lalita means that Krishna's garland reaches from his neck to his knees or even to his feet. It is made of flowers of 5 or 7 colors and many pendants of fragrant tulsi manjaris. Bees are hovering around it, attracted by the makaranda, that is honey, oozing from the flowers. His kundala, Krishna's earrings, are his acute curiosity to hear about the qualities of Srimati Ji. So he has these, it is said this is his kundala, his earrings really is his curiosity to hear about Srimati Radhika. May that Gopinath be victorious. Dinamani Mandala Mandana Bhavakandana. Dinamani is the sun. Krishna, that is the sun. He is compared to the sun. Srimati Radhika is the mandana or the ornament of his rasa mandala. Krishna is the swan who sports in the lake of the pure hearts of the Munis. Muni Janamana Sahangsa. Here Munis refers to the 4 Kumaras, Vyasadeva and Shukadeva Goswami. Moreover, it refers to Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and so forth. So, from the perspective of a personality like our Srila Gurudev who is saturated in Braj Ras, they will see everything from that Brajarasik conception or perspective. They can also see from other perspectives, but Gurudev chose to focus and share those particular bhavs. It's not that all the rest of our Guru Varga are incapable of that. If what Gurudev says is true, and I accept that it is, that all of our Rupanuga Guru Varga are of the same serving nature, serving under the guidance of Sri Rupa Manjari, Radha and Krishna in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan, then they're all capable of giving that same kind of transcendental bhav, but each Acharya has a specific You can say angle, what they're endeavoring to accomplish. And we might even say that they're all working together in conjunction. Some are cutting jungles, right? It's a team effort. Some are cutting jungles, some are tilling the land, some are planting the seeds, some are tending the seeds, some are keeping all of the wild animals out, some are giving water and nutrients. So they're all working together. And we cannot say this one is better than the other one. They're all doing their function, working together. But each one is capable. Each one has the capacity to awaken what they have in their heart, within the heart of another who has that intrinsic same nature. They have that capacity. We cannot say that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada does not have that capacity, or the same as Rupa Goswami, or our Srila Prabhupada does not have the same capacity as Rupa Goswami, or our Gurudev does not have that capacity. Still there's speciality, but we should not limit their transcendental capacity. So, Kaliya Vishadhara Ganjana Janaranjana E Jadukula Nalina Dinesha Jaya Jayadeva Hare. Gurudev says, Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. It's also in Jayarada Madhava, Janaranjana. Srila Prabhupada, he says in his first commentary that the Western devotees received on Jayarada Madhava, that so our Krishna consciousness movement is how to become one of the Gopi Jan. That Krishna's only function is how to please the Braja Jana, means the Gopis of Vrindavan. This is, or the residents of Vrindavan. How to serve them, and their only mood is how to love and serve him. So it's a reciprocal relationship. Janaranjana means he is trying to please the Brajabasis. When Kaliya encircled Krishna in his coils, how the Brajabasis became immersed in thoughts of Krishna. They wanted to enter the poisonous lake, but Baladev checked them. Mother Yashoda was desperately trying to enter. Baladev Prabhu checked. And if you read in Hansadutta from Lalita Sakhi, she's giving a message to the swan and telling the swan to go to Krishna in Mathura and relay her message. In there, she's revealing. Rupa Goswami has written or manifested this beautiful transcendental treasure. How when Krishna was caught in the coils of Kaliya, the gopis went running there with intent to go into the water and try to rescue him. Lalita Sakhi is telling this. But because of their tears were flowing so incessantly that it was turning all of the dust on the banks of Jamuna into mud. And as they were trying to stand up again and again, they were slipping and falling and they couldn't get to Krishna. What kind of intense endeavor, that feeling of imminent danger and separation was taking place within their hearts. So they wanted to enter the poisonous lake. Baladev stopped them, but we don't know about those gopis. They were stopped by their own tears and mixing with the dust and the mud on the banks of Jamuna. Thus their meditation deepened even more. Because of that tension, that distance and that potential, they don't see Krishna as God. They see him as their dear, most darling beloved. And seeing him caught by this massive 1,000-hooded snake, hundreds of feet high, caught in his coils, they were about ready to give up their lives. But then Krishna shifted. He escaped from the coils of Kaliya and then began to jump on all of his heads, one after another, which appeared to be such a beautiful dance. It was the first time the gopis had ever seen Krishna like this, dancing. He was jumping from head to head of Kaliya, but it appeared as such a beautiful dance. And within their hearts, immediately they desired that I also want to dance with Krishna. So this also nurtured this desire within their hearts. Then Krishna broke free and began to dance on the hoods of Kaliya. All the Brajabasis became so pleased. But what was Krishna's inner intention? He wanted to show his heroism, to please the gopis. No, he is the Nagar. He is the hero. And he is the best of dancers. He wanted to show his heroism, and they are the heroines. So always, his nature is like this, like a peacock, always folding his feathers out and doing this beautiful dance for the gopis. And those gopis are like the peacock, the peahens, but he needs to try to attract their attention. And so he's always trying in so many different ways to attract their attention. He wanted to show his heroism to please the gopis. Here, the Krishna of the Yadu dynasty is not Dwarkadish Krishna, Yadukula Nalina Dinesha. So, Srila Gurudev explained something interesting. And this is in terms of family connections. Technically, even the Krishna in Vrindavan is related to that Yadu dynasty. Why? Because Krishna's father, Nanda Baba, and Mathura Krishna's father, Vasudeva Maharaj, yes, they are not the same Krishna. One is a manifestation of the original. So Vasudev Nandan, Vasudev Krishna in Mathura is a manifestation of the original Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda in Vrindavan. And all Srimad Bhagavatam and many other places in Shastra have given proof to this, but we're not going deep into that right now. So from their fathers, Krishna's, these two Krishna's fathers, Nanda and Vasudeva Maharaj, their grandfather is the same personality. He had wives, one who was a Kshatriya and the other who was Vaishya. It's still the Yadu dynasty. From the Vaishya wife came the father of Nanda Baba and all of his brothers, so Upananda. And from the other side, from the Kshatriya side, came the father of Vasudeva Maharaj. So Yadukula Nalina Dinesha. Also, Krishna is from the Yadu clan, but the Vaishya side. Braj Krishna is of the Vaishya side of the Yadu clan. Oh, here we go. Devamidha Maharaj was a king in the dynasty of Yadu. From the womb of one wife, who was from a Kshatriya dynasty, he begot a son named Surasena. From the womb of another wife, who was from a Vaishya family, he begot a son named Parjanya. Vasudev, the father of Dwarkadish Krishna or Mathuresh Krishna, is the son of Surasena, and Nanda Maharaj, the father of Braja Krishna, is the son of Parjanya Maharaj. Thus, Krishna in Braj is also in the Yadu Vangsha. How interesting is that? Janaka Suta Krita Bhushana Jita Dushana E Samara Samita Dashakanta Jaya Jayadeva Hare. So here, Janaka Suta Krita Bhushana. Janaka Suta means Sita Devi. She is the daughter of Janak Maharaj. And Samara Samita Dashakanta. So, this is talking about Ram Leela. Gurudev is explaining that Ram Leela is one of Krishna's Leelas. Keshava Drita Rama Sharira Jai Jagarisha Hare. Krishna himself has manifested in such a beautiful form as Ram. Jai Krishna, Jai Krishna. That same Supreme Personality has manifested. Ram Adi Murti Shu Kala Niyamena Tishthan. Nanavataram bhuvaneshu kintu Krishna swayam samabhavat paramapumanyo. Krishna himself is the supreme absolute truth, and he has manifested unlimited forms for unlimited pastimes. And Ram Leela is one of those pastimes. Therefore, Ram is that manifestation of Krishna, and he's performing such a pastime. Krishna also has within him all qualities, so he's personally experiencing all Leelas. He is known as Leela Purushottam, but he also has a nature inside, Maryada, the personification of his following and following the proper rules of conduct of Vedic Dharma. is manifested in terms of Maryada Purushottam, Sri Ramachandra. So in the form of Ram, Krishna has established Maryada, the codes of righteous conduct, and by doing so he has made a platform from which one can practice bhakti to Sri Sri Radha Krishna. This is quite an interesting statement that Srila Gurudev just made here. Because Gurudev and Param Gurudev and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and our Srila Prabhupada and all of our Gaudiya Guru Varga and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and so many of our acharyas fought heavily against Sahajiyism. What is Sahajya? Doing all kinds of simple activities, nefarious activities, making the transcendental thing cheap. Mixing, concocting, twisting, and doing all kinds of things. Not following anything. Just jumping ahead of oneself in essence. So by Sri Ram, he has established proper codes of conduct. And if one is actually following the process of bhajan to Radha and Krishna, then they won't be engaging in all kinds of nefarious activities. They won't be doing all kinds of simple activities. They have no time for that and no attraction to that. So if someone is claiming to be doing such a thing, that I'm doing bhajan to Radha and Krishna, and at the same time, they're maintaining all kinds of material, simple activities, this is called sahajya, especially if they're doing it in the name of their practice. So Sri Ram has given this maryada. You follow this code of conduct. Look at Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, all of our acharyas. How impeccable is their character? They have such a strong maryada. They're following the rules and regulations. Why? Because that is part of the nature of doing Radha Krishna bhajan. It's not that, okay, well, I can just do whatever I want and I will be serving Radha and Krishna in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan. No, there's a symptom, external symptom of what is going on internally. And that external symptom will be extreme vairagya. Due to transcendental, special attraction, vairagya, deep attachment to Radha and Krishna, it will also manifest externally as extreme renunciation from everything material and mundane. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayatyasha Vairagyam Jnanam Chayara Hoitukam. Srila Gurudev again and again would establish this point. What is the proof of one's progress on the path of bhakti? If one is actually moving forward on the path of bhakti, two things, there will be two symptoms. Vairagyam and Jnanam. It means extreme renunciation from all things mundane and material. That's due to experiencing the higher taste, vairag, special attraction, attachment to Krishna. And also, what will manifest? All kinds of transcendental knowledge will manifest in the heart. Sambandha Gyan, knowledge of one's relationship with Krishna. All Krishna Tattva, Krishna's rasas, pastimes, everything will manifest in the heart. This is symptomatic of one who is actually following and properly making progress on the path of bhakti. If this is not happening, then our Gurudev said, then you should understand that there is some loop and hole. It means there's a hole in your boat, and we need to find where that defect is and patch it up so that we can, or maybe in the pot, if there's a hole in the pot, what nectar is coming will spill out. So we need to patch that up so that we don't lose what we are receiving. So here Jayadeva Goswami remembers how Sita ji is doing Shringar of Ramachandra. She's decorating Ramachandra. But how? Only on two occasions. You just jumped. Only on two occasions. Sita gave a garland to Ram at her Swayamvar, at her wedding, and also on their return to Ayodhya. Abhinava Jaladara Sundara Dhritamandara Shri Mukachandra Chakora Jai Jayadeva Hare. Here Dhritamandara refers to Krishna lifting Govardhan. Mandara, there's a mountain named Mandara. It is said to be the mountain which the entire universe is somehow situated upon. And this Mandara is referring to a mountain that Krishna is lifting, and here it refers to Krishna lifting Govardhan. Why did he lift Giriraj? To cut the pride of Indra? Or to protect the Brajbasis? What was the real reason that Krishna lifted Giriraj, Govardhan? So that he could have unimpeded 7 days and 7 nights darshan of the gopis, and especially Srimati Radhika. It was the first time when they were able to just drink his beauty for 7 days and 7 nights, and he was able to also do the same thing. Until the moment he was caught by Baladev. Balaram was watching. Why is Krishna's hand shaking? Nothing should make him shake. Baladev knows sometimes he's the Supreme Lord. Why is he shaking? This should be easy. As easy as it was to pick up a mushroom, he lifted Govardhan. Why is his hand shaking? So he looks at Krishna, follows his eyes, and sees his eyes looking upon Srimati Radhika. And Krishna recognized that Baladev saw him, and he became shy, and he lowered his head in shyness because Baladev recognized. But that's what Krishna wanted. Gurudev said to cut the pride of Indra and to protect the Brajabasis were all secondary reasons. Jayadeva Gosvami gives the answer. Shri Mukha Chandra Chakora. Mukha Chandra. Mukh means face. Chandra means moon. Shri means Srimati Radhika. And Chakora is I know Chakora is a bird. Special kind of bird. Krishna and the gopis were always surrounded by their elders. There was very little chance to meet or even see each other. Therefore, because Krishna is like a thirsty Chakora bird, eager to relish the nectar of the moon-like face of Srimati Radharani, he lifted Govardhan to create the first opportunity to meet closely and see her beauty without any break of disruption. Sri Jayadeva Kaveridam Kurute Mudam Mangalamujvala Geetam Jaya Jayadeva Hare. This Gita is Mangal. So this song, Gita means song, and Mangala means auspicious. Like Mangala Charana. This Gita song is Mangala, auspicious, because Sri Radha has been glorified. If anyone wants to enter Bhajan Rajya, the realm or the kingdom of loving service, he should have very strong mamata or possessiveness for Sri Sri Radha Krishna. How will this mamata or possessiveness come? First, it must come for Sri Guru. Interesting. I asked Srila Gurudev that question. How can I develop love for Guru and then for Radha and Krishna? And his answer was, when you begin to realize, understand, and appreciate what a valuable treasure Guru is giving, more valuable than millions of treasures of this world, without asking for anything in return. He doesn't need anything from you, not for himself, without expecting anything. When you begin to understand this, then automatically your love for Guru will develop out of indebtedness. And from there, automatically, and he just made this motion with his hand, very easily for Radha and Krishna. So Gurudev here is saying, first and foremost, Vishrambena Guror Seva means serving Sri Guru with deep affection and intimacy. Intimacy. And Gurudev told Sudevi, like a worldly bandhu, like a worldly friend. What kind of deep connection, how you would have affection and friendship with your best friend. Vishrambeno Guror Seva, with affection and intimacy. One should serve Sri Gurudev with intimacy and affection. Gurudev gives us so much, so why not feel indebted and serve him with one's life and soul? If we cannot have mamata, or this possessive mood, he is mine and I am his. Possessive. If one cannot have this mood for the one who gives us, Krishna Seva Vasanam. This means who awakens within our heart the desire and tendency to serve Krishna, and who nourishes our bhakti lata, who nourishes our growth of bhakti. Then, if we do not have mamata or possessive mood toward that personality, then we will have to have mamata or possessiveness, attraction, attachment for the wealthy, powerful, or attractive persons of this world. Thus, by asat sangha, we will be ruined. If we are not developing attachment for Krishna, first and foremost for Sri Guru, because the nature of conditioned souls or living beings in this world is that we must be experiencing something. And what we always run after, that which is tasteful to us. We're always seeking pleasure or satisfaction. If we're not seeking that in the transcendental realm and following the process by which we can actually increase that, then we are bound to seek it in the material realm. So Gurudev is saying, mamata for wealthy, powerful, or attractive persons of this world. And we can put our hand on our heart or feel our pulse, spiritual pulse, and see how much energy do we put toward the tabloid magazines, how much toward movies and our favorite movie characters, how much toward famous models and whatever, what have you. How much energy are we putting toward that, or to wealthy or powerful persons of this world? How much attraction really are we putting in that direction? And we can know by this statement of Gurudev, which is also established and corroborated by all Shastra, that if we are putting our attention and attraction in that place, it's because we don't have attention and attraction to Krishna. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hoy Andakar. Krishna is like the sun and Maya is like darkness. Where the sunlight is, the Maya, the darkness, cannot reside. But if we are attracting ourselves, our minds, our hearts and everything to all of the Gramya Katha of this world in all of its various forms, candy to the ears, candy to the nose, candy to the mouth, candy to the eyes. They call it eye candy for a reason. If that is where our attraction is, then we should know that we have not received Krishna. Srila Gurudev told me when we first met, not first met, but in America in 1996, when he came to the house where we were staying and stayed there for one night in Seattle. He said, after you receive Harinam, then your kirtan will become potent. He said, real kirtan is Golokera Prema Dhana Harinama Sankirtana, descending from Golok Vrindavan into your heart. That is kirtan, real kirtan. And so to this day, in essence, I'm waiting to receive Harinam. Although he has planted it inside my heart, still, Durdaiva Midrishamiha Janinaruragaha, for real, I have failed to really search for that treasure and failed to receive what he wants to give me. We can look at ourselves and see, I have so much attraction to all of the material and mundane things of this world. There's some flaw in my practice. Either I'm trying to give equal attention or more attention to Maya, or even if I'm giving 75% to Krishna but 25% to Maya, still Krishna wants everything, 100%. Everything. He wants it all. He keeps saying, Mam Ekam, unto me alone, Ananyas, exclusive, Ekantik, one-pointed. He wants everything. So how do we please him? We give everything. But we cannot really begin to develop that mamata for Krishna or Srimati Radhika until we first apply all of those basic foundational principles of bhakti. Anyabhilashita shunyam, anukulya yasya sankalpa, the process of sharanagati, all of these first at the feet of Sri Guru. And Guru will take that, make it qualified, make it purified, and like a handful of flowers, offer it to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Thus, I'm just checking here to make sure. So Gurudev is saying that Jayadeva Goswami could not write down this Smaragadalar Kandanam Mamashirashi Mandanam, where Krishna is begging and praying, "O Radhike, I am feeling the virulent affliction of Cupid. Please be merciful to me by decorating my head with your lotus feet." Gurudev said Krishna may pray this, but Radhika will never willingly put her feet on his head. This is a very refined point that someone who's from there will know. Otherwise, it might be easy to make this mistake. Gurudev says Jayadeva Goswami could not write this, but our Guru Varga has written such things directly and elaborately because such verses are actually so pleasing to Krishna. So Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, all of our Guru Varga, they have written it directly because they witnessed it directly. So what is pleasing to Krishna? Yat kinkarish bahusha kaluka kumani nityam parasya purushasya shikandamole tasya kadara sanider vrishabhanujayas tatkeli kunja bhavanangana marjanishyam. The eternal Supreme Personality of Godhead, who wears a peacock feather in his hair, falls at the feet of Srimati Radhika's maidservants and propitiates them with many humble and grief-stricken words to be allowed to enter her kunja. Oh, how successful my life would be if I could become even one stick in the broom used by the Sakhis to sweep that kunja where an endless ocean of rasa in the form of the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj engages in delightful, amorous play. Yes, I'm just finishing now. So Srila Gurudev is speaking about how our acharyas are able to directly give all of these beautiful teachings to us. You will find in Sri Radha Rasa Shuddha Nidhi by Prabodhananda Saraswati so many beautiful prayers glorifying Srimati Radhika's supremacy over Krishna. Even our Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj has written, Radha Chintani Veshena Yasya Kantir Vilopita Shri Krishna Charanam Bande Radha Lingita Vigraham. That Krishna, completely obsessed and absorbed in Srimati Radhika, he sat there at Sri Imlitala, and due to that absorption, it was as if he was fully embraced. Radha Alingita means to be fully embraced by Srimati Radhika. Gurudev said from all sides, completely covered, and manifested that beautiful form, that Vigraha, Vinod Bihari. This is the prelude to the manifestation of Sri Shachinandan Gaurahari. So Vinod Bihari is special. His complexion is the same as that of Srimati Radhika. And beginning to taste this, he wanted to taste that mood fully, and therefore Radha Bhava Dyuti Sabalitam, desiring to taste her moods of love and affection, he manifested from the womb of Mother Shachi like the moon rises from the ocean. So just here, Srila Gurudev was saying, so we should recite the prayers of our Goswamis. Even Jayadeva Goswami could not write these things because he was not under the guidance of gopis like Sri Rupa Manjari. So we are reciting the prayers of Jayadeva Goswami under the guidance of our Goswamis, under the guidance of our Gurudev and Mahaprabhu. But they have seen the deeper rasik meanings of all of the prayers of Jayadeva Goswami. Therefore, whenever we read any scripture, we should always be under the guidance of Vaishnavas because that scripture is transcendental. And transcendental has a certain kind of way about it. Parokshavad, it is a lot of code and innuendo. So if we want to understand the deep essential meanings of these beautiful manifestations from the hearts of these Vaishnavas, then Jaha Bhagavatapara Vaishnaverasthane, always under the guidance of Vaishnavas, then we will be able to somehow or other receive these deeper intended meanings of these scriptures and be able to approach them properly. Sri Jayadeva Goswami ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Sri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Janardhan Prabhu. Any activity that one does on the path of bhakti is necessarily defined by the definition of bhakti. So if you're going to call it bhakti, no matter what it is, if it's kirtanam, or shravanam, hearing, or cleaning the temple, or dressing Thakurji, or doing parikrama, or following Ekadashi, or taking prasadam, if it does not have as its goal, as its intention, the desire to serve Krishna for his happiness, pleasure, and benefit, then it cannot really be considered bhakti. What is bhakti? Anyabhilashita shunyam, without any other desire, not covered by anything else, only what is exclusively for Krishna, what is favorable for him, and it must always be under guidance. What is also beneficial for Krishna, this is pure bhakti. So in whatever activity that we're doing, whether it is kirtan, speaking, cleaning, this or that, giving in charity, taking prasadam, any of it, whatever it is, if that is not its intention, then we cannot call it pure bhakti. It could be mixed bhakti or anything else, but our Srila Gurudev wanted us to focus all of our senses and engage in the process of pure bhakti. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Nityan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Prem Purushottam Shachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai. Radha Vinobi Hari ki jai. Radha Ramana ki jai. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahananda ki jai. Sri Jayadeva Gosvami ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Wow. Amazing. Govinda Nam Dharmadhari. Govinda Nam Dharmadhari. Govinda Nam Dharmadhari. Govinda Nam Dharmadhari. Bolo Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Sri Vrindavan Hari Lal ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam. Gaur Premanande
Hari Hari Bol.
So thank you all so much for being with us today and giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and Guru Varga, and especially on this day to remember something of what we've heard of the glories of Sri Jayadeva Gosvami and his beautiful heart's manifestations. Also, we would like to express our indebtedness to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to follow the order of our Srila Gurudev, which is our life and soul. We cannot repay you for that. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandava Pranam. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
Hare
Radhe.
Krishna. Radha Vinobi Hari Ju ki jai. Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai.
Yes, these are the monkeys. These are the culprits right
Which
here.
ones are the monkeys? I think the shiny ones are the monkeys. I think the monkeys learn their behavior from little baby Krishna.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.